Good afternoon. Welcome to the Countless Vlogcast. My guest today is Adam B. Smith, filmmaker, photographer, director, yeah, art, straight up artist. So get ready, guys, because it's gonna be amazing. All right, Adam, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, man. Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, man. So tell us about yourself, man. Like I introduced you, but just tell us, like, break it down for us.
Well, let's see. Where should I start? Well, I'm Adam B. Adam B. Smith. As you just said, I'm a photographer, videographer. Done some directing, news videographer, editor, all that stuff. Let's see. I've been doing this now for about, give or take, about 6 years now. Backgrounds in news. I worked in news for about 5.5 years, and yeah, just right now I do like a lot of stuff for my business, ABS Productions LLC, as it says on my shirt right here, and yeah, mostly do you name it, videography, photography projects from commercials, music videos I've done. Oh gosh, weddings, different things that come up. I put it to you like that. It's so many. I can't even name it all like right at this moment.
Wow, man. So you got a lot going on. So like, tell us like what are some of like, your favorite like stuff to do in terms of like, the videography and the photography and the filmmaking too. Like, out of like those three, like what's your favorite if you had to pick one?
Well, definitely directing. I like to direct. I love being behind the camera. I mean, I like to be in front of the camera, but it's a plus, not a must. As I guess, lack of better wording to say. So I say directing because I love seeing the magic come alive from behind the camera. And I've been doing directing. I directed my first film that came out last year. But other than that, I just mainly I'm a behind the scenes kind of guy. Like seeing the magic come alive. And yeah, I'd say that that's my best. What I love the most, just being behind the camera and calling the shots, if you may. Okay.
So talk about that process of like writing your first like and directing your first like film too, and tell us a little about your film too.
Well, my first film that I did, it's called The Path. That's actually really like my first feature film that I did, and the process was long, because it started. I came up with the idea for the film. Oh, you ready to hear a story, aren't you?
Of course, man. I already know about this. I already know about, but like, what I just know about it.
All right. Well, let's see. I started writing it back in 2016, and over time, like the concepts, it changed a lot. It went from, I just really came up with the concept because a friend of mine, was like, we was doing a photo shoot, and these two, they had like so much chemistry together. I said, I really think that these two would be perfect to be in a film because the chemistry, how they played off each other. So I wrote it as a young married couple originally, and then over time, I sat down and I started writing it out. This is like November 2016, I'm going to say, and it took me from like November of 2016 to about April of 2017 to write it. Came up with the concept of like this young married couple living in a urban area, and dealing with the process of being a young married couple. They were supposed to be like in their mid 20s, and it was like different scenarios that came up. That's why I call it The Path, because it was like kind of like a play on of things, like they're on this path of life. They're trying to make something of themselves, even though both of them are not exactly in the best. They were not in the best situation in terms of like their living conditions and stuff like that. And then it was also like influences from outside, like from their outside people, like their friends and family, that kind of like was trying to steer them in different directions. But then things didn't really work out with the original script, and then I had to rewrite it. I had to find different actors and stuff. And then eventually I just kind of killed the whole like wife aspect to it because with all the different recasting and everything, I just decided, I said, you know what, I'm gonna just take the wife character out of it, and then I just made it just pretty much be about the one character. Like instead of a husband and wife, it's just like a guy. Well, he had a girlfriend, and pretty much like kept the same kept the same like the same story. Just had to do a lot of rewriting, and just flipped it to being a young guy who is pretty much down on his luck. He's an artist. He's trying to make himself known in the world, but out that again that outside in influences like his brother, who was pretty much like saying that you need to forget about your dreams, you need to focus on your own like on like being with me and work with me and stuff. And then also from another aspect was his girlfriend saying that you need to follow and listen to what your brother's doing, because his way of life is going to make you have money and be successful, instead of like worry about like a pipe dream of being an artist, like because he was supposed to be a skilled artist, like he could draw and do so much, like in terms of comics and cartoon characters and animation. So yeah, when we finally was able to get the story down, we found the right people for it. We went ahead and just started shooting it, and it took us, this, like I said, the concept came up in 2016. We really did not start really filming until, I'm going to honestly, into about darn near 2018. It took us like that long, like almost 2 years, and then finished filming everything by January of 2019. So it was like over 3 years, like 3 years of putting towards this. But I guess that could be standard for some um film directors or people who, or script writers. It's not everything is going to be done in one, and like everybody thinks it's going to be like done like a couple of months or a couple of weeks. Maybe some people could do that. For my first film, it took a lot longer. So yeah, that was pretty much like the whole process with that film. But honestly, I would say like definitely, for the listeners, check it out. It's on the ABS Productions LLC website. absproductionsllc.com, and then you could watch the full length film there. It's 71 minutes, but it's a good 71 minutes of interesting stories from this one center character.
So, talk about what you want to see next with the film too, like the feedback, and where do you want to take it next steps in like terms of like putting into maybe film festivals, or like maybe like growing it, or what do you want to see next?
Well, with that film, it was actually in the 2019 New York Film Festival, which it actually it was like I was shocked when I actually, I it got accepted to that festival, because I sent it to a bunch of different film festivals, and I finished editing the film in April of 2019. And it came at like a time where it's just like I finished it. I just recently I lost my job where I was at, and I was away. I After like the job let me go on a Friday. By that Monday, I decided, well, I'm going to take some time off, and I went up to the Poconos, and I was up there for like over a week, and I actually finished editing it. And then by then, that spring into summer, I decided, I'm gonna try to submit this into festivals. I submitted to a number of them, um, but the one that I would say I probably submitted that film to probably maybe like over 10 festivals, and the one that actually you know answered back was the Newark Film Festival. And from there, I got a lot of good positive feedback from it. you know, like I actually was while at the festival, because festival was in September. Um, uh, uh, um, I should say, a journalist, a writer for the Irvington Herald was there, and like, you know, just doing a story. And then I live in Irvington, so it was a whole feature story that was about, you know, it was about me, about like local hero or so, or from Irvington. You know, I mean, if we got to do this interview, I would go and get the article, but needless to say, it was in the Irvington Herald, and it got a lot of positive feedback because honestly, I didn't think that, you know, I thought it'd be like, okay, a nice little article written, but I've had people like actually read it and say, oh, like like that's you was like in the film fest. I read about it. I mean, even after that, like when the article came out, my mailman it said to me, like, he said, I have a celebrity on my route, and I said, really, who? And he said, you. I was like, me. He said, you was in the newspaper. I was like, oh boy, like I didn't think that it was, you know, it's like I didn't really think it was gonna get that far, but hey, you know, I'm happy for like the, you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
people
it's
that
great, man. Cause like you seem like a humble type, man. I knew you for a while now, but you seem like the humble type too. And like as like an artist too, cause you're like eating behind the scenes more too. So you don't expect that too. You don't expect that kind of like
right.
feedback too, man.
Yeah, so it was great, you know, like it. And then also I was also on the radio just before the festival. Um they were I was on WBGO. I was featured on there because one of the guys that is you know, that does the news on there. His name is Santos. He you know, he said to me, listen, we want to do something on the Newark Film Festival, and I know that you have a film out. You want to be on air? And I was like, yeah, I want to keep it clean. But I was like, hell yeah, I want to be.
Now you curse out here, man. It's all good.
So, yeah, so it was good, you know, being on the radio, and you know, and BGO is like, you know, one of the biggest stations in New Jersey. So, you know, actually being there and talking about this film, you know, and getting it out there because of all the people that I guess submitted to the festival. I was like the only one. Like I guess there was other filmmakers from like Newark or the Essex County area or New Jersey, but for me to be the only one featured on the radio, you know, and talking about like my film and stuff, you know, that made me feel good. You
Yeah,
know.
man. Congratulations on that. That's a big accomplishment too, man. So talk about the importance of like working with other like culture, like black creatives and like tell urban stories as independent.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You know, I, you know, with this first film that I did, I've had people say to me, oh, because the cast is like it's a Hispanic cast, and you know, and I'm black, I'm African American, and I'm in the film too, but I originally, you know, I kind of with this, I just say this with that film. I really didn't want it to be a film about like Hispanics, blacks, or anybody. I wanted it to be just a story that almost anybody could relate to. But to answer your question, it's important to, you know, to do that. I mean, you know, I worked with you know, a lot of black with, you know, with black people in terms of like with projects and stuff. It just was hard, you know, trying to find certain people for acting, you know, because I guess some of them, I mean, some people might be like 1 minute they want to do it, and then the next minute they don't want to do it, and you got to kind of go with the flow where it's like you want to get something done, you have to just keep, you got to keep pushing. But it's important to, for me, it's important to even tell a story in a urban area because it's like it's what I know, you know. I wasn't raised, you know, I was raised like, you know, middle class life, you know. I was, you know, I wasn't rich. Never lived up in like Short Hills or Millburn or any place, but you know, like a lot of the stories and stuff that's within like the film like that I'm doing, that I did, and what I'm doing next is almost like scenarios that either relatable to me or through friends that I have that have like a story and they've been through something. And this, I always feel as if like stories more, I rather tell stories about more so urban life than, like a lot of people say, well, like, why don't you do this action packed film? I was like, yeah, I'll do stuff like that, but I also want to do stories that, that kind of pays like, like pays more to my surroundings where I live at, So and it's just all, and I always cared a lot about like the term would be like coming of age stories, and I think some of the best coming of age stories are the ones that take place in like urban area. See, I say urban area because I remember when I was talking to this lady last year, and she was like talking about the film, and she was talking about like, well, you have the characters, like they like kind of like ghetto. And I had to correct her. I said my characters are not ghetto, they're urban, they're not ignorant. I didn't write the characters to be, like, they made like some the characters, some of them made like bad decisions, but I'm not gonna make them look like anybody I didn't make them be a stereotype. So, I had to correct her. It's a difference. And also, and there's a lot of positivity that goes on in urban areas. And I want to talk about it.
Yeah, man, that's great, man. So let's talk a little about like advice you have for other like filmmakers out there and beginning like photographers and like that, because you've been doing it for a while now. So like advice out there for like college students, high school students.
Well, one thing I would say, I break it down like this. I break it down from photography, and I break it down for videography. For photography, I would say, like, if somebody's young trying to get into doing it, or they just see like, wow, like that's cool what they're doing, I honestly would say to them, try to, like, I mean, a high school kid, more than likely is not going to have like the money to get themselves probably a DSLR or anything right away. But I would say try to study from like somebody, like try like be like a like don't be afraid to be like that intern to a photographer, or just even like not even if it's not even school, just somebody that you know how should I say this? There's somebody that you see, if they're doing something, try to, like just watch them, like ask questions, ask a lot of questions, because the thing is, you have so many people now that, because, these devices that we have, they take a little snapshot or whatever and say, oh, I'm a photographer, and all this. They put it on Instagram, or, Facebook or whatever. I'm like, like it's not saying that that's bad, but you know, that it's not always going to be like, it's not always what's going to probably end up getting you like the job if you want to do it. And also with clients, they're going to look at you silly because like, you want to just take photos of me with your phone, like what's wrong with you, like they're gonna look at you like silly. That it's just like with a phone, even though it does everything, it's just like, how would you feel if like you call yourself a photographer and you go over to a shooting and you got like a Kodak or something like that. Yeah, so that's thinking like old days. Where people like, you're gonna look at your camera, they're gonna look at your equipment more than anything. But I definitely would say, um for a photographer that is, somebody's coming up, like watch what they're doing, pay attention to details, how they shoot, and just ask a lot of questions. That's the main thing, ask a lot of questions, because that's how I learned. And honestly, for photography, nobody really taught me photography, but camera work, videography, which I'm going to go into now, that's another thing. Ask a lot of questions, and if you want to go to school for it, even though people say now, like, I don't need to go to school to to operate a camera or to do filming and stuff. Well, newsflash, you may not always have to do it, but a piece of paper does open up some doors. So I still would say, um, when you in college, if you want to study film or journalism, which was my background, internships. And the reason why, because with some internships, some of them were a pain in the ass, I'm going to admit, but some people there are willing to help you, and you always should try to listen to like somebody who's been in the business like a little bit longer than you, because they've been out there and they've done it. Because I've had guys that worked at CBS, NBC, ABC, that was that was helping me out with stuff when I was just really getting my foot in the door when I was working at like at a very small station. And but what I would say to them is like, yeah, just use that, whatever they teach you, try to remember it, because that's what I did. So that's what I would say for young kids, like high school, college, especially college kids, because a lot of people I know that they wanted to go into journalism or broadcasting or of some sort, and they never interned. And even with that, it's like, if you don't internship, well, you're not going to have nothing to put on your resume. So, you know, that's like, so you going to, unless you got those killer good looks, or somebody, it's going to be hard. I'm telling you, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, man, that's definitely relatable too, man. That's relatable too.
Mhm.
So, like in terms of like finding like clients or like mentorship, what would you recommend for somebody out there like just beginning their photography, just beginning like an internship too, and find time to make connections? Like you break it down a little bit too, but like would you say social media too? Like how would you approach somebody if it was you?
Well, one thing that is beautiful about social media is the fact that, only thing you have to do is get somebody's name, look them up, and just, maybe send them a message, or send them a friend request. But how I do it for like, even, well, would you want me to talk about how I do it, or how like somebody younger would, how they would do it? What they should do it, if I should say.
Break it down for like now, because it's a different time now. Break it down for like social media age.
Well, I would definitely say that you gotta definitely search around in terms of social media. Like, look on what one websites. Kind of sad, not sad, but kind of funny to say this, but you gotta be like, gotta be a little bit of a stalker. Like, you kind of have to do a lot of digging to find people, and and to just really try to get clients. um just, honestly, I would say just put yourself out there, and like, check people, like, speak to them or whatever. Or one thing I would say is, like, for certain people, if they're doing, let's say, photography or videography, and the biggest thing right now, of course, is Instagram. I would strongly advise people to never use Instagram or Facebook, really, or especially Instagram, to just post utter nonsense, like, like a selfie or whatever, um, or just something like foolishness. Use that as like your platform, so that way, when you do want to try to talk to like a client or somebody who is on social media, because the first thing they're going to say is, "Oh, well, what's your Instagram?" or which Facebook, especially like your Instagram, because they want to go there and they want to see, they want to see your work. So I would say definitely try to keep, like, you can have a separate page for whatever you want to post, like the silliness of seeing somebody out in the street getting their ass whooped, or um keep that separate, but keep the main thing, like your page, where it's like you have like you working, like a video or something like that that's geared towards like your brand or whatever. So I would say that to a lot of younger people, but and definitely, because I'm still young too, I'm only 30, but keep looking, like searching around, add people, like their stuff, but it kind of plays in like in two different directions because you know you it's easier said than done, man. It's not easy trying to find clients. It's hard trying to find people. But when you do find somebody, because there is somebody out there that'll be interested in your work, you know, you do the best damn thing that you could do for them. And in terms of money, is like you might gotta have to do something where you're not going to get paid for it right away, but that doesn't mean do half-ass work. That means do something where it's like do it as if like, you're getting paid $5,000 to do it. So then that way, with that one client that you did that for, then you could go to like you say, bam, like I did this because that client over there is not going to say, well, that's nice, but how much did they pay you to do that? So you got to just like for each thing, keep searching. Never take a day off where it's like you're not doing some type of way to try to promote yourself or get your business out there or try to bring clients in. Just every day try to do a little something.
Okay, great, man. So, what are some of your goals now with the pandemic and all that, and like moving forward?
Well, this pandemic has really, it slowed things down a lot. It really did. It slowed business down, like films that I even had in the works. It's funny too, because as you just asked this question, I just got a text from another for an actor that I'm thinking about having in my upcoming film. But future goals though is like I use this time like between what March through even now right now to just pretty much write, create, which I wrote a screenplay, um and I working on another one also. But just as I was saying, I hope that people are using it because we're still in this pandemic, because it's not over yet. I would, you know, use the time wisely to like if you're a creator, videographer, or whatever, you know, even like practice on like do practice on your craft because even though they say stay at home, which I did, and I think a lot of other people did. That doesn't mean that you had to like stop what you're doing. And if you went out and about, I mean, social distance yourself and work on how to film because you could easily forget your craft like that in a second. So for me, I just mainly I use the time to just to create, to write, brush up even on like just little photography. It was even just like practicing just like with the lighting and stuff and my studio with like backdrops or whatever, just practice on that to keep myself ready because like I just like I just mentioned, you will lose that craft in like in a second. And then when things do start to like pick up or decide like okay, I'm gonna go outside and do something, you be looking at your camera like, damn, I don't even know what my functions or anything anymore. Like, what am I doing here? So that's what I pretty much did. But future wise, continue to write, continue to create, putting more film out there. And side note, um, just before the pandemic hit, I directed a film called "Did Not See That Coming," along with my boy Wilmer Rodriguez, Will Vision Production. That's what he's under, and we put this film together. We shot it in February, and we used and then once the pandemic actually phase came on, we took like a complete halt on like editing, putting everything together. Because I would say we finished shooting probably I think it was like the second to last week of February. Started editing it, putting stuff together, and for a film that was only 10 minutes long, it took us about like what 5 months to actually put together. Like it, we just actually released it on the 24th of June on YouTube, and it's also on my ABS Productions LLC website. But future, yeah, I just continue to create, and honestly, I really want to branch off and be not so much I mean, I always love and enjoy doing film festivals, but I'm trying to move forward because I want to be able to have something on Netflix or Hulu or honestly, hey, even maybe CBS, NBC, ABC, a network. Those are my future goals for, like for just pushing forward is to get, hey, I even throw Fox into the mix, getting it onto television because that's always been like my ultimate goal was to, I wanted to work in news and I did. And now my goal now is just I really want to continue directing and being into, to the film age and television. That's where I see, the true future for me.
So, where people find you at social media, website.
Well, they can find me on Facebook and they can find me on Instagram. If they want to find me on Facebook, just type it Adam B. Period Smith, and they will see a photo of me. I think I was looking out a window. I was in no Long Beach. Just looking out the window. That's the photo that's on there. ABS Productions LLC, as it says on my shirt here. Instagram, same name is A period B period S underscore productions. And then also my photography page is A period B period S period underscore photos because I have two pages, one dedicated to showing more behind the scenes, and then I have the other one that's geared towards showing the photography work. And my ultimate website is absproductionsllc.com, and on there you will see everything. Everything is on there, and it's just keep it growing and growing all the time with new videos and stuff. Later on today I'm gonna upload a music video that I shot with Will Vision 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna upload that to the website. So it's a lot of stuff there. A lot of my work is there.
That's dope, man. Thank you for coming on, sharing your story, your experience, man. It's wonderful, man. Thank you again.
No problem. Anytime, man. Anytime.
All right. This has been the Countless Vlogcast with your host, Justin Rich, my guest, Adam B. Smith, filmmaker, photographer, overall artist. So check him out. And thank you for watching, guys.